Hello, this is part two of our interview with Kenneth Meadows, the husband of Denise Meadows, who did the Coimbra Protocol starting in 2018. Kenneth was addressing in our at the end of our last interview about how when Denise would make a change, uh, I think you said when she would make a change, it'd make her a little irritable. Anyway, I'll let you go and I'll let you dig your grave there. Tell us a little bit about what it was like being the spouse of somebody with active MS.
Sure, and like I said, it's you go to I went to every doctor visit, every test that she did, every referral that she went to, anytime she had to do infusions, anything like that, I went. So you kind of buy into what the doctor is telling you, um, even though you may question it, but he's still going to say what he thinks
He's
is
the
the best.
professional, so you
Yes.
take his word.
Yes, and he like you said before, he's the world-renowned specialist for this. So you're going to want to try to trust this person because like Denise, I saw what she was going through, and if he could help her 1 ounce, I was all for it. Whether it be right or wrong, we were going to try it. And like I said, there was times where she was getting excited as well when we were talking to him because she had done the research. She read about the certain drugs that she could take, and she was really excited about, I think, Tisabri, when they offered her Tisabri, because that was supposed to be the latest and greatest. So we were all in. So we went to get those infusions, and she would come home and would really not see any improvement. Most of her days were just sitting on the phone trying to make money by doing what was it, doing little surveys, or grading pictures, stuff like that to make, she may be on the phone for a day, maybe made $1.25, and she felt good about that.
Yeah,
So
you feel useful.
yeah, to feel useful, she was contributing, and that was a big thing for her. But whenever you see that, then it's whenever she's we did the Tasabri, right? And then that's whenever you decided you were going to do the Coimbra protocol. And I was like, but the doctor have said that there's other stuff that's coming up, I think, like Ocrevus, some other stuff that was promising. So she was getting excited about that. So when she told me about there's this vitamin C or vitamin D protocol that she could do, I'm like, that can't be very simple, as simple as that. And it's really not that simple, right? I mean, Coimbra protocol is just not taking the vitamin D, it's taking other vitamins, it's exercise, it's
Magnesium, yeah. Kenneth, I got to stop you right there. I'm going to go ahead and read this disclaimer. I don't
oh,
know that I totally forgot,
okay.
and I have to read this. Uh, what Kenneth has been saying is his own personal experiences. He's not giving medical advice. This interview addresses multiple sclerosis and the treatment of it using the Coimbra protocol. Um, well, my uh, phone was recording all that conversation. So all I say is, and I can almost do this, my memory is that we're not medical doctors. We're not giving you medical advice, ways, means of treating multiple sclerosis or autoimmune disease vary from person to person. Therefore, we advise you to use a trained medical professional. We're sharing our own personal experiences with the Coimbra protocol, and this is purely for entertainment purposes. Go ahead with what you were saying, Kenneth.
Well, it's it's the Coimbra protocol for vitamin D. So, but there's a lot more into that than, oh, do we get our dosage right for the vitamin D? That's probably the most important, but probably the biggest part is the water. And like Denise and I have talked many times, is people think about, okay, I'm drinking a Coke today, that's part of my water. It's not part of it. It's, you can drink the Coke if if it's allowable, if your doctor says it's okay, but you still have to have the water. You have to have the water. It is hard to drink that much water every day. I get that, but you know, we've come up with ways for her to be able, she's a pro right now. She doesn't even think about it. She gets it every day. But, you know, we went through a lot of things with trying to eat so much spicy food during the day or take a supplement that might make you thirsty. She's found that drinking warm water works best for her.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just a water bottle right out of the package.
It's interesting.
Yep. So, and that's a big part. Actually, I think it's probably the biggest part to make sure you're taking your vitamins. And I think a lot of people stress about the food. Denise was very adamant about, oh, I can't have anything with vitamin C. We would go to the calcium in it. We would go to the grocery store and we would look at all the labels, you know, 5%, maybe, you know, if it's 25%, no way. So, and it took a while that we get that. And then she got to where her PTH level was down to where it needed to be. And then we kind of started experimenting with a little bit more calcium, a little bit different.
You have to have some calcium.
Right.
Yeah.
And she, to her diet now is she just basically eats what she wants when she wants it. But you know, it's always at the beginning when you're starting the protocol, it's a very, you got to go with the flow, I guess, is what I would say. It's as a spouse, a person who has MS, it's hard on that person because they have to see somebody
MS too.
Yep. They see somebody that they love very dearly go through this, and it's hard. But whenever you see, like she said, day 8, she was able to walk longer. When we were doing the drugs, the infusions, you know, I would have to carry her into the house, you know. Very disheartening. The kids would be in the house and they would be crying because they would see that mom couldn't walk in on her own. So once we decided to go, or she decided to go into the protocol, you know, it did take a little while. It did take a little while to get your balance on what you're doing. But once you get going, like I said, day 8, you know, 8 days, she saw a dramatic improvement. And then once we got to that level where everything had kind of evened out, then that's when they started adding, you know, more, changing your dose up. And then we would see not dramatic, but changes in attitudes and just the way she felt. And then it would level back out. And then the next time they'd make a dose change, then you would know, say, hey, you're going to have 4 or 5 days that you're not going to feel well. These are the things we're going to do to make sure you don't have that same reaction the next time, because it takes multiple dose changes to get where that level, that PTH level needs to be. And
yeah, that's something I want to touch on there that I didn't whenever me and Denise were talking, but you're answering the question very well. When you make a dose change, you'll have a change in your body. You may be tired a few days, a few weeks. You may be lethargic. Denise just told me this morning she had relapse type of symptoms, but they go away, you know, after a few days. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's I mean, to see it, you know, today she's, like she said, she's better today than she was before.
How is Kenneth today? I mean, how's your life changed?
Oh, and it's changed immensely because we have the energy to go do stuff. We just came back from a week's trip to Aruba about 3 weeks ago.
How wonderful is that?
Last year we went to Jamaica. We went to we took the whole family to Cancun in Mexico for a week. Wow. So she has energy to do that stuff. Sometimes I wake up in the morning, early in the morning, and like she talked about, she works a rotating shift. You know, some days she works nights, some weeks she works days or weekends. I usually have a set schedule. If I get up early of a morning on a weekend and she's not in bed, I'm like, I wonder what she's doing. So I may get up and I'll look out the window and she's walking around the drive, you know, the circle drive, trying to get her laps in, or she's jogging on the treadmill if it's raining, or she may be in the tanning booth. getting some more. I'm getting some more vitamin D there, but she's active.
I often wake up before my wife does. She'll come downstairs and say, "You're awake," and I'm like, "I've been awake 3 hours,"
Sure.
and I feel great.
Yep. Yep. And she has those days. She has those days where, and I think it's probably more work related, but when she flips her schedule, she works days and then she may have to work nights, 4 days later, where her schedule's a little bit different as far as
That's
when
hard to do. I did that.
Yeah. So, I think that if it was me not having MS or had MS, I think that with that schedule, I'd struggle with it myself. But, with a person that has MS or had MS that still has, the concerns about it, I think that night and day. I think one of the first things that Denise wanted to do whenever we left St. Louis from her last doctor visit over there, there's a place called Cahokia Mountains over there, and it's got this big high mound that you have to walk so many steps to get to the top of it. And
FYI, Cahokia Mounds is in Illinois, people.
right, yep,
Yes.
it's just on the other side of St. Louis.
Yes.
And she said, I want to climb that mountain today. I'm like, are you serious? Because it was a cold day, it was a chilly day, and it was the day after Christmas. And she was dead set that she was going to do that. I can't remember. It's probably at least 300, 400 steps, 500 steps up to the top.
High. They're big.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we stopped, we pulled over. She climbed that mountain, actually walked around it for a good little while, took pictures from the top, and then went down with no issues that day. So that was a big thing. She climbs tanks where she works at. Like she says, she works at a refinery. She works as an operator in a refinery. So she actually out there changing tanks, doing a lot of walking, a lot of physical labor, climbing, the big tanks of petroleum or oil or whatever. So she's out there doing big things.
So she's gotten back. We were talking there a while ago. She said she's gotten back. She doesn't feel like 95%, but 295%. And I know that's how you feel, because you kind of feel like Lazarus in a way. You feel like life is over. My life sucks. You're like, if this is how life is, it sucks. That's the way I felt. And when I got better, I felt like I had to tell the whole world. And Denise feels the same way. And I know you do too, because you know how bad it can be. You've been on the other side,
Right. And on the Facebook page, the North American coimbraprotocol site, I'm also a member. I got involved with it. Not really involved, but I became a member because she was a member, because I wanted to see what it was all about. And I do check it pretty regularly, and I see people on there that get discouraged about the smallest things, that I see that.
Yeah,
we've been there. And I understand to them it's a big thing.
Yes,
but
you're right.
But it's something that we've been through, and it's like, are they really concerned about something that minor? And you just want to tell these people, say, just plow through, just go.
Yeah, you just got to hang on for the ride.
Right, and it can be very hard. It was hard for her, but it's as a spouse, it's hard because you're wanting to do everything you can. I see a lot of guys or women on there that say this, my husband has this or has this going on. They did this, it's not working. I just want to jump in there and say, hang on.
Hang on, be positive.
Maybe it's going to be, for her, day 8. You said it was day 30 something
for me.
Yeah. So it's not the same for everyone, right? It's going to work differently for everybody, but you're going to find that key that
you might be 14 or 16 months before you start feeling good again. Dr. DeMoss said he had patients that went that long, and then they just steadily got better. And that's the way it is. You do hit a point. Now, normally that point is somewhere between 7 months and 12 months, to where you're like, oh my gosh, this is working. You have that aha moment. And for her to be on day 8, man, that's fast.
Right. And like, like I said earlier, it's not just the vitamins that you're going to take. It's also, the stress, you got to keep that stress. And I know it's hard.
Do it
And like
all.
you're asking
Yeah.
somebody that is not feeling very well, doesn't hope they want to really live or not. Right.
Yeah.
You're going to tell them not to stress. So that it's very hard, but
Right.
I
Don't
think
be so you can't see out of your left eye, but don't be stressed about that.
right,
That'll go away.
right. And
You know,
that's one of the parts of, I felt that, the spouses to help relieve that stress, right? We can't take away
much
all
as
the
they
stress
can.
because we can't be with them 24/7, but you've got to be there to, like she said, make her pills. And, I had to, because I would come home from work and she'd be just sitting on the couch, and lack of a better
Scary.
word, vegetating or
Yeah.
whatever, because she took the
Right.
wrong dosage of something.
Right.
Uh, like rhodiola, I think one time she took rhodiola, and she took like a super rhodiola rather than the regular rhodiola, and she just went, it went south real quick. So we had to make sure to adjust for that. But, and I know
If
rhodiola
you
is not
had kids at home too.
right. Yeah. And they were
Yeah.
very much younger than what they are now. That first month or so was pretty hard for him, because he went from having a stepmother or mother that was very vibrant, very outgoing, very, hey, what can I do for you? Let's go do this, to just basically sitting on a couch watching TV. Or
How old were your kids at that time?
I think our youngest was probably 8,
Well, it was
10,
2016, so he would have been 12.
12. So the youngest was 12. But, it's whenever that, especially whenever we came home from the doctors there from St. Louis that first time, and the youngest kids were at the house, and there was a lot of tears shed that day, because
I'll bet there was.
mom couldn't make it to the door, through the door, without dad carrying her in. So, and they knew something was very serious then, and we sat down and talked to them. And at that time we were all in on the DMDs.
Right. Yeah.
But at that time that was the best option we had. And then thankfully she talked to you about the protocol, and she became a believer and convinced us all. And then it's like, okay. And then, like I said, that first 2 or 3 weeks were kind of struggle, but we got through it. And then we saw a lot of improvements. And then she got where she wanted to do stuff, and life, not only did life come back, but it got better.
You don't think it can. You think, oh, my life's over with. And I did. I thought, well, that's it. My life's over with. But then now, even though I can't walk, I still feel like I've got more things back than I ever had before.
Mhm. Right.
So
Yeah,
I know what you're saying.
there was a point that before she got on the Cumbria protocol, she was, she told me she wanted me to leave. She said, I'm not going to get any better. She said, you deserve a better than this. And, told her at that time that was never going to happen. So, and it's like I said, it from then to now is just so dramatically better. I don't think life could be any better.
Well, whenever I run across somebody on the page, a spouse, I'll give them your name and say, you need to talk to this guy, because there's so many people out there now. I read names on the page every day, and I don't know who they are. And they're doing the protocol. They have protocol doctor, but they don't hear unless they ask. And then
Mhm.
a lot of people like you aren't even there anymore. People get better, and
Right.
their spouses get better, and they go away. And I understand that,
Sure.
because life goes on.
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah, we're going to conclude our interview here now. If I run across somebody, I'm going to give them your name. I'm so glad you guys are doing better. I'm so glad you did the protocol. Uh, Gosh, I just wish that, like I told you earlier, I wish I could grab people around the collar and say, please, please do this. But I've learned the ones that are interested will do it, and the ones that don't believe it, you just got to let them go. They may come back at some time, but there's too many people out there that were like you and me, and they were thinking my life's over with. And so we got something now to share with them that their life's not over with. I tell people all the time, I have a fantastic life, and you can too. And so you need to look in it. I tell people just to research it, and you tell them the same thing. Just go out there and look it up. Go talk to somebody. Do something.
Mhm.
Anyway, where are you going on your next vacation?
Well, we just bought a house.
You're quite the jet setters.
It'll be somewhere tropical, hopefully.
Somewhere with a beach.
Yeah. My wife always loved the beach. She loves the ocean. Anyway, Denise, thank you so much for doing this. Let's do it again another. I'll heck with you. Probably wait a year, but let's do it again. Let's stay in touch. And
Yep.
if I run across anybody out there considering this, I'll send them your way.
Okay,
All right. Thanks, guys.
thank you.
Thanks, John.
See you.